It's the 2022 Gillies Shield. We've finally got there after delays through COVID and 17 years since the Gillies Shield has been played in Adelaide, South Australia. It is James Harris bringing you the action from Ghanaland in the Adelaide Plains, West Beach, South Australia, and alongside me, Eric Molnar and Anthony Weatherstone. It's game 2 of the 2022 Gillies Shield. Guys, what did I miss?
Well, we had an absolute belter of a first game, James. Thanks for welcoming us. By the way, we had New South Wales and SA, a rematch of the grand final, back on Diamond 2. We called the radio call of it, Anthony and I, and it was a 3-2 extra innings win from New South Wales in what is going to be, it's going to be hard to beat that game, to be honest, for the rest of the tournament, or just set the standard really high.
It was a final to open the championships. Is the only way I can describe it.
And New South Wales, who's playing today, were a key part of that, and their defense was really the story. So I'm really curious to see how that carries over versus an ACT team that could cause a bit of chaos, to be totally honest.
Well, they've got an international pitcher. I don't mind that in this competition. It only will help the aspiring Australian players to be better. It lifts the standard of competition as well. Sounds like I missed a beauty. The weather-wise here in South Australia, normally we've got Lee Hull here. He'll be joining the commentary from tomorrow, but a little overcast at the moment, but I don't think there'll be any more rain today. We did get off to a slight delay because we got some wet weather overnight, and very special thanks to the grounds crew to get us going. There is another game on at the moment over on Diamond 2 at South Australia versus Queensland. We'll bring you some updates throughout the game. It's 0-0 at the moment, but you can also check out the Softball Australia iScore to stay in touch with that. Well, we are about to get underway. This is game 2, game 1 here on Diamond 1 at West Beach in South Australia. ACT, New South Wales.
And don't let the name on the back confuse you right there for ACT. Lauren Parker is getting the start in the circle today. This is the New Zealand Pitcher of the Year for women's softball from last year, and she plays for the White Sox, the national team.
Handy pitcher to have. Michelle Cox is in the batter's box for New South Wales, leading things off. She's one of 3 Olympians in this team for New South Wales. She was a key part of the New South Wales win against South Australia early on today.
Excellent defensively, Michelle Cox. You saw a lot of her plays over at first base, was part of 2 double plays that she dove over. Went 0 for 4 with the bat, but without Michelle Cox, New South Wales probably don't win that game.
Yeah, she looked likely though a couple of times. She wasn't getting beaten. She just didn't fall away. She was aggressive, pushed the counts deep, had a running bunt attempt that went real close too. So ACT obviously weren't a part of the last time we had a Gillies Shield, which was 2 years ago in 2020. So you have to go back to 2019, which means...
Pop up, second base, under it. Brooke Spence takes a catch. That is the first out. Some tricky conditions out there, a little soft. I was out in the diamond a little earlier around the shortstop and second base area. So excellent catch from Brooke Spence. ACT, nerves will settle a little bit there. Back to you, Anthony.
I was just going to say, so the last time ACT played at this level was 1,207 days ago. So it's been a fair wait for all of us. It's been a longer wait for them.
I'm sure it didn't take you long to work that out.
That's what Siri's for.
Good plug for Apple there, if you're listening, Apple. Your employer, I reckon.
Now, in the last game that we called, as Parker delivers a pitch, Shannon Keevers, there's a few standout players, but at the end of the game, Weathers and I gave out our 3-2-1 votes. And this woman in the batter's box on the left side of the plate, Shannon Keevers, we both gave 3 votes to because in a game of small margins, her speed ended up being the difference. She got on base twice and scored twice, including stretching an error in left field to a triple and scoring from second on a ball that was hit to left field that was effectively a single. So Shannon Keevers was a game changer with the speed. Don't let her on the base paths.
Yeah, we should do that. We should have our player of the tournament. Another pop-up. This is shallow right field. Calls out second base player Spence. Brianna Kimber into the game. And that's a good catch for the ACT. 2 up, 2 down.
An ACT team that has a lot of youth on this team making their debut, but they do have a few handy players, including an Olympian. They've got a New Zealand national team player in Lauren Parker, and that will be handy facing players like Taylor Titsacronis, who's up to bat. but a team that if you talk to them, they're feeling pretty confident that they can cause a bit of chaos in this tournament. The expectation, especially externally, wouldn't be gold medal for ACT, but some dangerous players that might be able to string together some wins, and anything can happen.
Yeah, I can't wait to call Claire Warwick in the action. She's got a terrific nickname. We'll get to that. It's Taylor Titsacronis. Line drive is going to go to the fence. Hits the fence at the bottom on the fall. She turns two. Holds up at second. Looked like she had a little bit of trouble negotiating that second base area I mentioned before.
I mean, she's just so powerful, Taylor Titsacronis. You can see it on the replay here. Like, this takes this doesn't even bounce on the wall. It's off the base of the wall. And she played here in Adelaide. This isn't her first time at this diamond. Remember, she came over for the Denzo series with the Aussie Spirit, playing that Japanese team that came over. And Taylor Titsacronis hit one of the longest home runs I've seen at this ballpark before.
She also debuted at open level for the Stars.
And won the Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year.
Stacey McManus, another Olympian to the plate. Again, her defense was excellent for New South Wales at shortstop. She took 4 or 5 plays in a row, all on the backhand at short, and just a warrior, even though she went 0 for 4 at the plate. Shout out to Mama McManus, who would be watching. She was listening in before, chiming in. Now she can see her daughter play.
Titsacronis getting an extended lead at second as well with 2 out. They won't be too focused on the runner, but a big lead here. Any ball into the outfield should be looking to score. How'd Taylor go in the first game?
Taylor she was hit by a pitch, and she had a hit. And that hit by pitch to Taylor Titsacronis set up the run that was scored to make it 1-0 New South Wales. So she's got on base 3 times now.
She called real smart too, so she's definitely got the best out of Ladner, who was trying to find her range, and through innings 4 to 6 really shut SA down after they had some early momentum.
Well, she gets to third on a pass ball. Here is McManus again. Fouls that one off.
And McManus put the ball into play too. She kept fouling a few balls right behind her, including one that Bell White eventually caught.
Yeah, she got jammed a couple of times, and but looked likely.
You certainly wouldn't watch an 0 for 4 performance from Stacey McManus in Game 1 and say, I have concerns. You're probably feeling pretty optimistic about how she's going to go.
Parker to deal. Stretching for this is McManus, and Warwick will make the play. Well, the nickname within South Australia is the gun, and that is because she is absolutely on fire. Every single time the ball's in her general area, she'd come to get it. They're in a tricky spot. Fired across the first for the third out. So pretty good inning for the ACT.
And now we'll see how they bat, and I'll run through the lineup for you in a second. But when you look at the ACT lineup here, sorry, it's literally that first half that has that lot of experience that they're going to try to generate some offense for, and then let the kids do the work that are sort of making their debut. So Brooke Spence, a warrior, an athlete. She plays A-League soccer. She played for the Matildas, leading things off. Brooke Spence, Sarah Ryu coming from WA, then the gun Claire Warwick, Caitlin Savage, Alexis Cooper, Jess Henman, Bree Kimber, Sam McCready, daughter of the great Sally, and then Lauren Pardo line up the lineup. Left to right for New South Wales on the field, Taylor Titsacronis moves from catcher to third from the last game. Stacey McManus stays at short. Montana Kearns, she played third last game, moves to second, and Jazz Peters gets in the lineup defensively, playing first. Tolly Moore moves from second to left field. Shannon Keever stays in center. Michelle Cox moves from first base to right field. And Riley Arnott, who we saw get a pinch hit at-bat debut in a key situation for New South Wales in the last game, she makes her catching debut as a starter to the young Charlie Orsini, just 19 years old, in the mound. And she's someone that I know that you really like, James, Charlie Orsini, in terms of a prospect of Australian pitching.
Yeah, terrific young pitcher. I liked what we saw when she came over to Adelaide to play for the Hills Heat in the Premier League. It was actually a Hills home game, so it wasn't in Adelaide. It was up in Mount Barker. I can be correct if I'm wrong, and I'm sure I will be if there's anyone watching social media, but I think these two were a battery for the Under-17 National Championships that was held here in 2019. So a couple of players that played in the New South Wales Championship and well, most of their teams do at least make the final when you're talking junior championships. Pretty good with the men's as well. They won the men's nationals this year too, New South Wales. So a very well-rewarded program that they have there, a lot of championships. Anyway, let's get back to this game. It is Charlie Orsini pitching up against Brooke Spence.
Did you like what you see, though, from Charlie Orsini in game one, closing it out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously to come in fresh at the particular time in the lineup when she came in, it was a tough ask, but she throws a hard ball and it's all or nothing. So it was a lot to like about that. So just mentioning about the ACT, you're talking about the men's and stuff like that. One thing I really like about the Diamonds this year is the fact a lot of their prep's been playing up against those guys. And one of the things we're talking about with New South Wales is that they've had a limited preparation, whereas ACT have been working pretty hard against the 86ers. So.
Is that ACT men's program pretty good, James?
Yeah, the 89ers, have won 1 million national championships over the last 2 decades and always tough to beat. So New South Wales actually coming through this year, but it was against the ACT. Charlie Orsini just doing a little bit of grounds work there, showing respect to the guys that have been out there working since about 6 a.m. this morning. Deals and a foul ball from Spence.
So Brooke Spence actually played 5 games for the Matilda. So she's a machine, just an elite level athlete. Played for the Brisbane Roar in the W League, in the top level soccer. So she's next level quick. And you'd expect that from an elite level soccer player.
Yeah, well, speaking of good sporting programs, the Matildas is well renowned, and to play 5 games for them, you'd have to be pretty fit as well, you'd think.
Yeah, and by all reports, she's one of the people that understands what it takes to take your athleticism and your career as an athlete to the next level. So she brings that to the fold with ACT in terms of being a mentor in that department.
Low for ball 4, so Orsini just trying to find her range here. She came in on fire in extra innings, or did she come in right at the bottom of the 7th?
No, she came in after the home run to Bell White.
So in the 7th?
Yeah.
With a runner on.
Pressure.
And she got
with a winning run aboard, got a double play, yeah.
So she got a double play, but just off in her radar here for the leadoff batter, batting 2 for ACT, Sarah Rio. She's a draft player from WA, the only Western Australian playing in this tournament.
And people really like her in this softball community across Australia. Had some highlight reel plays in the SummerSlam. Yeah. Lefty
as well.
And only young.
And can play the short game. Titsacronis comes across to make the out, so a sacrifice bunt to Rio. It's not a bad start for her.
Yeah, great job though. I mean, she's done exactly what she needed to. Started at the top of the zone, making sure that ball was on the deck. New South Wales infield all over it. Coming in, making a sharp play. Good base running all round. So
first out for for ACT with a runner in scoring position. This is Claire Warwick, one of the team leaders of the Aussie Spirit. This one gets away from Arnett.
And Spence will go to third with that. So the formula for ACT is pretty simple. You've got Claire Warwick, the gun. She can hit the ball pretty good. You got 2 athletes leading things off for Brooke Spence. You just want to get one of those 2 players that can move pretty well on the base paths and hope that you can have Claire Warwick cash in some runs. And that's exactly the situation that they've set up here. And now they have a free base over to third. So a fly ball scores it, or just to hit up the middle.
RBI single to Claire Warwick. Olympian, and she's just all class, isn't she? She does play against the men in the men's league in Canberra in the ACT, so against the likes of Cheesy Kirkpatrick or Adam Folkard, just a couple of household names in men's softball at least, and she shows her worth there. An RBI single to put the ACT in the lead here in the bottom of the first. Pop up straight back to Orsini for the second out. That was Caitlin Savage. Savage for the second out.
Yeah.
Here's the Eastern replay.
Just need to start her hands a bit higher on that to make sure of it. But going back to Warwick, I would have thought runner at 3-1 out, you'd maybe pitch her a little bit more carefully than that. But New South Wales went straight after her, and Warwick replied in kind with a great shot up the middle to score the first run.
I mean, Charlie Orsini likes to attack batters.
Yeah.
Part of her DNA, and I think that's what makes her so successful. But you're right, it is an Olympic-level player. Alexis Cooper up to bat. First time in the tournament that New South Wales have trailed. They did not trail in one moment of their 3-2 extra innings victory over South Australia earlier.
Which has seen a couple of veteran pitchers at the moment, Sandra Holden for Queensland and Jade Peterson from SA, locked in a battle down there. It's 0-0 after 3.
Game's going quick. Hit over towards second, and an easy play for Montana Kearns to retire the side. So we've played one, and ACT have a 1-0 lead.
No, we wouldn't have called that at the start of the game because New South Wales have had that first game. So, you know, their eye would be in, you'd think, with the hitters. We saw Taylor Titsacronis hit the fence on the full 230 feet here at West Beach. Might have been a home run at Blacktown, but it was ACT that drew first blood.
It certainly was, and it's been interesting to see how these teams prepare because they're geographically really not too far away from each other in ACT and New South Wales. Both teams, obviously, we're still in a global pandemic, taking some measures when they have come to SA, all of them staying in units and apartments, all scattered across Adelaide and not having too many of the players stay together just in case the worst case scenario happens and it spreads around the team. So both coaches, when you talk to them, you get a sense very meticulous in their planning, very detailed in their research, and they're assuming for all scenarios, because if you prepared for all scenarios, then the one you didn't prepare for, you feel like you can still be pretty good for. So very interesting to see how these teams operate while they're on the road.
We said it all, I think, Eric. So
thanks for the broadcast. It's been nice for you to join us.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about New South Wales offensively in this game too is going to be the fact that, as you said, like they've had a game beforehand and have literally walked off that diamond onto this diamond, and they've had Yo Grau throw 8 quality innings against them. And whilst they've got the young talented Parker here at the moment, yeah, you would think they'd be seeing the ball even if it is a different diamond and it's a bit of a different look.
Tali Moore to lead things off here in the second inning for New South Wales. And Lauren Parker goes back to work. She's around the 100-kilometre-an-hour mark for the first pitch of that inning. We'll keep our eye on the radar as the inning goes along.
Yeah, Orsini was sitting in between 103 and 96, so both of them throwing pretty hard.
Inside. But Moore wants nothing of it. Plate umpire is Steve Wallace-Yarris, the South Australian umpire-in-chief. Steve Wallace-Yarris, Damien Macaulay, a softball SA Hall of Famer, and then Tali McDonald is umpiring on third. Goes after this one. It's in foul territory for Sarah Rio at third base for the first out. 3 pop-ups for New South Wales out of the first 5 batters.
And that happened in the first game as well, early, until they all went through the lineup once, and then the coach pulled them aside, and they seemed to make some adjustments. But they all did. We had a couple of flyouts on that side. We had a couple of innings of groundouts through shortstop.
4 straight plays, 6-3.
Yeah.
Grace Rickson at the bat, and just dedication is what you hear about Grace Rickson. She lives in Newcastle, comes to training a couple times a week with this New South Wales squad. That's a 2-hour drive each way while being a full-time student in New South Wales.
There's some good stories of players that are so willing to, you know, put in for this sport within South Australia. We've got them ourselves. We've got the players that travel from Port Pirie and the Riverland each week to play Mount Gambier. So good, always good stories, good news stories, aren't they? Those that travel.
Especially just shows that dedication that you have to your game and your teammates to have that commitment to get down and still be part of it, even though you don't live there. Like, that's a long way to go.
Alexis Cooper has called timeout just to have a chat with Lauren Parker on the plate. There's Cooper there. She does a little bit of work with the Tropics team, the men's team that plays the Canberra Skins tournament. They're always quite successful.
And ACT having to make some last-minute adjustments to their roster, I know, because a couple players unable to make it because of COVID.
ACT, they've got a funny mix, though. Like, their average age of the team is 25. They're the only team that's got 4 players over 30, and then a bunch of players under 22. So it's a really interesting mix in experience and youth with what they've been able to put together. So
full count. Rickson, it's low for a ball, and she'll head up to first base. So second runner aboard for New South Wales, first in this inning. And it brings up to the plate the catcher, Riley Arnott.
Made her debut in the last game, had a pinch hit. It was a good at-bat that Riley Arnott had. Didn't get on base, but a great effort. She ended up striking out on what was a ball, and she just barely went around, and they didn't call her out until she was standing on first base. There was a bit of drama around how that call was. That would have loaded the bases in the 7th inning. But it was a good competitive at-bat from Riley Arnott.
Goes aggressively after this one, fouls it off.
Just can flat out hit. That's why she was on this team, is because she can flat out hit.
yeah, the old methodology was you'd pick a team first based on who was going to score your runs, and then you'd figure out the field afterwards. So I think that rings true pretty much across most of the levels. So.
And she's now had 2 strikeouts that she'll feel hard done by on. She looks at that one that was just a little bit away. Here's a pitch there. That's over the plate, though. That is.
You cannot complain about
Yeah,
a pitch.
that is over the plate.
Right there. And a good call from Wallace Yarrow.
Down the heart of King William Street.
2 out now. I'm shocked. That's a great angle from our team here at Spacequake Sports. Peters gets up to this first one. Another pop-up. First base has some trouble reading it. Goes into foul territory, drifts back into fair play. And it is Pardo that makes the catch and the third out of the inning. ACT are rolling here, guys. We're in the middle of the second.
Now, you did see that back in game 1 on the back diamond. Players had to make. They went left, they went right, they went forward, they went back. I think it's a bit windy. It's windier than it feels on the ground up in the air, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely on the left side of the diamond, on diamond 2. So,
well, for those that don't know, we have got the best facility in Australia, close to everything you could want, from 150 metres from the beach, 10 seconds from Glenelg. It's a hot spot here in Adelaide. 10 minutes from the city. You can see the hills in the background, right next to the airport. You couldn't find a better placed venue, better than driving, your 2 hours from the airport, like some of the venues around Australia. But let's not go into that. We'll just talk about how good SA is. What do you think?
I love it.
Proud South Australian right here behind the mic, as we see Charlie Orsini going through her warm-up pitches here in the bottom of the second. Thanks for your support, by the way, guys.
I was just thinking, like,
Australian sitting next to me, and Anthony, you've just gone into your shell, mate.
I just thinking, like, how do you follow that up? Like, I mean,
give us a score update around the grounds, thanks to MK Services SA.
So we're in bottom 4, and we've still got the 2 most experienced pitchers in the competition going at it, and it's still 0-0.
Combined pitchers age of 82 years old in that game between Jade Peterson and Sandy Holden.
First pitch swinging, and she'll get there safely, and that's the issue there at shortstop. So Jess Henman will probably get a hit. No, we can see it's going down as a red pen. So our fantastic.
Well, let's take a look at the
replay.
Here. Yeah, the Easton replay, from what I'm told.
It's going to get scored in error. And this is going to be a little unlucky here on the shortstop, McManus. Watch it here as her. All right. She could have fired that off before she tripped over her own foot there. Watch this one. She could have thrown it on this. Plants it there. Should have thrown it there. Tried to take the extra step and stumbled. So an error called and Henman aboard.
But she stopped herself throwing that. Is that something she would have done like on purpose, knowing that, hey, this ball's going to be errant, I'm just going to eat it instead?
Well, Peters looked set up.
And she was, if she threw that, she was out by a mile. Either way.
Something's gone wrong
Something's
out there.
gone wrong.
A player of that quality, I don't think it would have been.
If you had seen the game, if it was live streamed, Stacey McManus made about 3 or 4 plays in a row that was on the backhand. She turned 2 double plays. She took a couple surefire base hits. Like, if you are not, even an above average shortstop would have struggled.
Sack bunt. Kimber, that is out. So another sacrifice bunt to ACT to put a runner in scoring position, and only 1 out. So almost mirroring the bottom of the second inning. There's the Eastern replay, or Senior it is doing the fielding.
Brings up Sam McCready.
Daughter of a gun.
Absolute daughter of a gun. Her sister isn't
Not the gun, but a gun.
Yeah, her sister isn't here. But it was funny. I was talking to Kylie about her last night, because Kylie used to pitch against the gun back in the day, and I remember coming down when they had the fast pitch league back here, and remember her pitching against McCready, and yeah, it was always scary.
And for those that don't know, a ground ball, second base. Nice play over at 2 from Kearns for the second out, but the runner has gone across to third base for Lauren Pardo. It's Sally McCready, a 3-time Olympian, International Softball or World Baseball Softball Hall of Fame, Softball Australia Hall of Fame.
Lauren Pardo comes to the plate, but Anthony Weatherson's got an update for us from Diamond 2.
Yeah, so Maddie Cameron's just batted in Bell White out to centre right field as SA go 1-0 up against Queensland in the fourth.
Let's revisit that in the inning break, because we are always here to talk about SA, as I was just in the inning break before. So Pardo, the 9-hitter for ACT.
That pitching matchup on the back between Sandy Holden, 41, and Jade Peterson, 41. Interesting notes, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in the Queensland broadcast, but I'll bring it up now. There's a few players on Queensland, I think there was 3 or 4 players that were not born when Sandy Holden made her debut at Open Women's State.
Yeah, a couple of 40-year-olds still playing national championships. We won't go into that either. I'm not into self-promotion, but Sandy Holden has been there and done it. She's been to some world championships and won national championships, and will lead the charge for Queensland.
But good for Jade Peterson right now, having a really, really nice start.
Orsini gets out of a jam with a runner on 3 with her first strikeout of the game. ACT have gone through the lineup in their first 2, and look at them. They are bouncing out to the defensive inning, and they look like the ball is rolling on their side of the court.
And it was interesting to talk to their coach, Sean, who's coaching this ACT team, and he said he just wanted to keep everything really fun and lighthearted. Traditionally, I think ACT players have felt a lot of pressure coming to these tournaments, especially some of the younger ones, but what a great experience getting their first Open Nationals. ACT hasn't had a team in the competition in a few years, and just able to go out there and grow and learn as softball players and people, and may as well go out there and have fun and enjoy the moment. Like, if you're not enjoying the game you're playing, you're probably not going to have a lot of results anyways.
Well, a team we're looking forward to watching throughout the course of the next 4 days. Anthony, here's your time to shine, mate. It was Maddie Cameron.
Yeah, so Belle White had got herself on, and Maddie Cameron's then hit the ball deep to centre right and able to make second on the throw herself, but that was enough to be able to score Bell for the go-ahead run.
Maddie Cameron is the best player in Australia, not currently in the Open Women's team. She's in the squad.
Yep.
But love to see her in that green and gold.
Oh, absolutely. She is a legitimate superstar, and I mean, I think she's just was caught in an era of some fairly handy outfielders and hitters when they were doing the Olympics and stuff. But yeah, look, she's a great outfielder, rocket arm. She read a ball today which ended up behind shortstop that both of us couldn't figure out how
she ran like 40 feet out of the way.
And she's just a threat at the plate. So, yeah, great character.
Pride of Wagga Wagga, Montana Cairns knocks one into left field, and New South Wales, for the first time today, have a leadoff runner.
Yeah, good shot. She's pulled the ball. Looked like it was a bit outside and high, but she was able to get her hands around it and drags it to the left side for a single. And we go back to the top of the order, and Michelle Cox will try to advance. That's David Mugleton's car just making some noise in the background.
So back into the top of the lineup, and if there's a concern for the ACT, is that
Sack bunt, third base. This is Rio comes charging from the glove into the hand on the run, but it's Cox that beats out the throw. An infield single advancing Kearns to second. New South Wales threaten.
Well, this is the part of the lineup that did the damage for New South Wales. That's how they scored all 3 of their runs. It was the top of the lineup, and they had the 9-runner on in extra innings, and then Michelle Cox laid down a bunt, and then Keevers, Titsacronis, off of some errors granted, but good close play look there. It was a good bunt, good down the line, Cox. There's just so much speed and athleticism between Cox and Keevers and Titsacronis in the top 3 that New South Wales hurt SA, and they're looking to do it to ACT here.
Yeah, none out runners at 1 and 2. That's traditionally big trouble. But when you've got 3, 4, 5 at the 3 at the plate, 4 on deck, and 5 to come, that's trouble in anybody's language. So ACT going to have to work hard here.
Just a bunch of Aussie Spirit players in a row.
Swinging on the run here is Keevers. She's got the wheels as well, so you'd think anything on the deck here, the pressure's going to be on the field.
I really, really liked watching Shannon Keevers play in that last game.
Yeah, and it's the threat of the fact that she can play short, running, advance the runners, or she can hit the ball deep.
Pulls it, so the runners will advance. Great play at 2 from Spence. Underhands it to first for the out. Heaps of pressure on that play, knowing that runners are advancing. She really needs to make that play. Timeout called from Coach Carroll. They'll have a chat about this situation. Runners in 2 and 3 with the dangerous Titsacronis coming to the plate.
And there's just so much protection because you have to be careful with Taylor Titsacronis, knowing that Stacey McManus is following her. But Titsacronis already laced a ball earlier in this game.
Yeah, and the thing that I was going to say before, which I probably shouldn't have said when I did at the time, was I was going to say that Porter's 36 pitches are in already. At start of the third. It's a lot of pitches early, especially when you're throwing mid-90s, so against a lineup such as this. So
last game versus South Australia, New South Wales made a big-time adjustment on Yo Grauer the second time through. That's how they scored their first run.
Yeah.
Big-time adjustments. Yo Grauer allowed 2 hits in the entire game, so,
You know what the rest of the SA Premier League would have been thinking watching New South Wales struggle against Yo Grauer? It's, okay, it's not just us. Yo Grauer just dominates anyone that she comes up against. So,
yeah. Well, she raised the level again, and we saw her raise a level in the final series here locally.
Well, if Lee Hull was here, he would have said, repeat of earlier message, they've put her on. So Taylor Titsacronis with a double already in this game.
Well, it opens,
and an intentional base on balls.
It opens up the double play, and Stacey McManus is going to be a hard out, but we did see 4 double plays. New South Wales turned them in the last game, so they're out there.
This one's put into right field. A catch will be taken. The runner tags up. There's going to be a play at the plate. The throw's off target. It hits the runner. It looks like Cox is going to try and score from third. Titsacronis, the ball comes to the fence. 3-run score on a fly ball to right field. How's the aggressive running from New South Wales? Every runner scored on that play. Here's a look at the Eastern replay.
This is chaos, and you just have no room to make a mistake against New South Wales. They made SA paid, and unlucky bounce for ACT, then another unlucky bounce off a player, and then there was never a chance on this throw. You just can't give New South Wales an inch because they take a mile. They did it versus SA, and they just did it here.
Watch this at the plate. It hits the runner. Deflects. Now the throw from Cooper comes into play, hits the runner, then the next runner comes through to score.
But credit to New South Wales for being ready to pounce on those opportunities. Versus the SA game, as Tolly Moore comes up to bat, it was a fly ball to shallow left field in extra innings that Shannon Keevers put over to left field. It was in the glove of Sarah Tonkin before it popped out, and the next minute Shannon Keevers was standing on third base, and that ends up being the winning run. New South Wales have now generated, and just like how they scored their first run of the game versus SA, right? There's now 5 runs that have been generated of the 6 they've scored completely by base running and being opportunistic.
Anthony, we're going to get to you in a second. I hate to be scoring that play, so if you're watching on the iScorecast, it might take a while for this one to come up. Back to the action, and it's Tali Moore up to bat. Anthony?
Yeah, I mean,
pulls it. Spence was on her knees before the ball got to her and makes the play. Well, now, Anthony, I'll be quiet here.
No, go for it. I just hope that Alexis Cooper doesn't read into that play too much, because as a catcher, there wasn't a great deal that she could do about that. We're just watching the replay there of the ground out, but that was as an unusual play as I've seen at the plate. But New South Wales just made the most of that opportunity where, you know, she's come in, like the ball's rebounded off the hitter. Like, I mean, obviously we've just covered it. Just sort of hope that she sort of doesn't let that get to her, because it wasn't her fault.
Cooper's back, tried to make this play, hustled to the back net. Then she's had to come again for a third play. She won't want to watch that back.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about New South Wales, right, is there's some good questions about them in terms of what kind of they've been preparing hard, but they haven't played that competitive level game since the state champs. That was before Christmas. But what doesn't sleep is speed. And speed doesn't slump. They've scored a lot of runs with speed, and that athletic ability and game knowledge from their veterans in the field has won them one game, and it scored them 3 runs in their second.
Yeah,
that doesn't rest, right?
That's also base and running.
Kathy Lambert School of Speed Training was a big thing here for us in South Australia for a couple of years, and you can tell their speed kills in this game of softball. Power can win you a game, speed can win you a game, good defense will win you a game as well. Wrap it all into one package, you'd be unbeatable.
And it's sacrifice hitting, which is what Sarah Tonkin's just done on Diamond 2, as she's just flied out to right field and scored Maddie Cameron for a 2-0 lead in the 4th.
But so big result looming over on the backfield. We'll keep you updated as the game goes through.
But what happens there is it just adds so much pressure that New South Wales is able to generate on the base pass. They're able to generate absolutely something from absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And they did that defensively with their speed, right? Like Michelle Cox lays out from first base, makes a great play, gets the ball over to shortstop. That happens in an eye. New South Wales do everything so quick that they're simultaneously slowing and speeding the game up at the same time.
Back to the top of the order for the ACT. And it's Brooke Spence. She had a walk, her first plate appearance.
I'm really excited to watch Brooke Spence in this tournament this week. Like, she just sounds like a complete asset that you would have on your team. Get to see her play at this level at Open States is cool. But I just love watching athletes, like people that are so well-rounded in how they prepare. And Sean Carroll did say, don't let Brooke Spence on the base paths. And first batter of the game walk, and then later scored.
Change up, holds her hands back, gets a piece of the ball and goes into foul territory. Yeah, just one of probably a few dozen absolute superstars that will be playing in this 2022 Gillies Shield. We cannot wait to keep bringing you the broadcast. So if you're liking the broadcast, give the Softball SA Facebook page a like, because we bring the Softball SA Premier League action to you live each week during season. Broadcast partners, NITV, SBS On Demand, Channel 44 locally in SA, and of course Spacequake Sports, our broadcasters. Watch out for them. They bring you a lot of different local sports, from ice hockey. They're going to be doing the Pro Hockey League during this winter, Eric. I'm sure you'll be a part of that.
Brooke Spence, though, 34 years old. Played on a couple junior teams for Team Australia, including winning a 3rd place finish back in 2007. From Queensland originally, Harvey Bay.
Interesting, look at that front leg. It's right on the outside edge of the box. She steps in, drives it opposite field. Under it is Michelle Cox for the catch, and that's the first out. It was a long at-bat, doing the good job as a lead-off to bring Sarah Rio to the plate. Eric, you've done your homework, as have you, Anthony. The two gentlemen in my left just absolutely love this game. It means so much to us, so a lot of work's gone into it. What can you tell me about this player here, Rio?
Well, she's the only WA draft player. Is that the correct term? Draft player?
Draft player, yeah. They used to be known as the pickup player rule, and then it was changed. The name was changed to draft player. There was no real change to what they do. They essentially trialled for their own state or made themselves available, didn't get selected, or their team, they don't, state doesn't have a team, and then they go into a pool, and based on the positioning of the last national championship, there is a draft where the players are picked in order.
So Sarah's a pressure point player. She can lay down the bunt, as we saw in the first inning, as we've seen. She can hit the ball hard and flat with a bit of power to get it to the outfield, and she is pretty quick on the base path. So she's just young. She's kind of on that fringe of that Aussie selection, really talented, but puts pressure. Look at her fly down the wing.
Down, and Titsacronis felt that pressure. She'd come to get it. Quality player at third base. And Rio makes it over to third. Great alliteration before. It was very well said and put Eric on the pressure point player.
Pressure point player.
Pressure point player.
Triple P, we'll call her, Sarah Rio.
Your alliteration was illuminating and insightful.
Oh. Shout out to James Harris backing it up. Claire Warwick, the gun, she's already got an RBI. Hit a ball up the middle. Probably a good sign if you're already hitting it up the middle in your first at-bat in the tournament, Weathers. You're probably happy after that as a coach.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, especially when Orsini's throwing the ball as hard as she is at the moment. She's most of her spinning pitches are up over 100 at the moment. So
yeah, that
another one. Second hit of the game. Both of them up the middle. Both for moving Sarah Rio a base. This time round, she just advances to second.
Yeah, good approach there.
So runners at 1 and 2, 1 out. So
Savage and Cooper, one of them needs to find a hit.
Did we score an error for that play on Rio, or was it an infield single? We'll get back to that one.
That would have been a hard play to make. Like, she was flying down the base paths.
Savage swing and a miss. Correction for mine as well. Warwick advanced Spence.
Yeah, it was Rio that laid down the bunt.
Yeah, sack bunt to Rio. Just updating my scorecard. I've got to keep up with this. The action is going thick and fast. We're in the bottom of the third already. This one gets past Orsini, but a great backhand play from Kearns. A double play!
Unbelievable.
From New South Wales. That's Hollywood stuff right there. Or as the NCAA would say, a web gem from Kearns. Just backhand on the run. McManus comes along for a sixth double play of the day.
James, what's amazing is that was a nice double play. I'm not downplaying that at all, but that was maybe their least impressive double play of the day. That was their easiest one that they've had to make, and it ended up being a backhand no-look flip to short. They have been so good defensively, New South Wales. They have taken runs off the board now in 2 straight games. New South Wales defense got them to extra innings, got them the win versus SA, and they're doing it now.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw then McManus had to actually reach up and get it.
It was unreal.
And still make the play on the runner at first. The transition was amazing. So, I mean, the spilled ball here by Titsacronis just on the advancing shot before, that's the first time in about 12 innings or 11 innings so far that we've actually seen the ball not go straight into the glove and be perfect. So, yeah, look, it's ACT. I mean, it's difficult when you've been in a situation where you've given up some runs and they haven't necessarily, you know, like, it's not like you've been out hit or anything, you've done anything wrong, you've just had a play at the plate that's gone wrong, that's cost you a couple of runs, makes it hard. So, yeah, they need to rebound quickly because New South Wales have made just an absolute, every opportunity come up trumps for them.
Just a slight delay in play. We can see the groundsmen who've been hard at it since about 6 a.m. Just running out there just to level out some of the soft spots that are over in these trouble areas that we mentioned earlier at short and second.
2 former Team Australia baseball players out doing the grounds crew.
Well, I know Andrew Scott was an Olympian and Matt Williams was signed by Minnesota.
Yeah, and he played for Team Australia for Yonks. Like, he pitched in World Baseball Classics. You would have seen him in the last World Baseball Classic.
The most impressive man out there was Graham O'Neill, been volunteering here in South Australia for the better part of, well, 30 years, I think. So shout out to our man there, Graham O'Neill. His partner in crime is Roo Weaver. We've seen him out here all week making this venue look amazing. So we thank those guys.
Andrew Scott getting out there as well as Matty Williams. So the 3 of them doing all the work for us to get things going.
Well, 4-6-3 was how we scored that last play. A little backhand flip, a great stretch And then second play from Stacey McManus. Just class from New South Wales defence. Here we go. We're in the top of the 4th inning in this matchup. ACT versus New South Wales. It was ACT that got off to a flying start, but New South Wales last inning
all
scored.
On a fly ball to right field. That was just chaos after that, where 3 runs scored with bases loaded. And as Grace Rickson's batting right now, I mean, New South Wales, they're going to be really hard to beat because they put so much pressure on you in so many different ways. Like, you have to hit perfectly against them. You have to pitch perfectly against them. They just they seem in the early days, they're just going to ask a lot of questions of their opposition in a lot of different ways, and you're going to have a lot of different responses ready to go. They're going to be beatable. They've been in close games, but they're going to be really hard to beat.
Oh, that one was high in the zone, and it just brushed past Parker. Oh. And a single and a good lead-off for Rickson and New South Wales.
Holy moly, look at this. Flinch
on the Eastern replay. Dude, that was shoulder height, that pitch.
Oh, my goodness. Grace Rickson, she's seen the ball well in the first game, too.
Yeah, she was. She wasn't overawed by the moment by any stretch, so.
Long ball in foul territory from Arnott.
Yeah, it's going to be tough from
Lands safely, yeah, from McCready. Look, we got some pretty good following as well. Just had the whisper in the ear that Softball Australia want to know where you're watching from. So tell us what association or club you're playing for, and that's going to help spread the message of this great game. If you want to play, you go to softball.com.au and you can go into the club finder anywhere in Australia to find a club to play for. As this one's hit hard to first base. Good coverage from Spence and a good play and a follow-up from Pardo. Knocked it down, importantly recovered and didn't panic to make that play at first base. Runner does advance.
You see in the Eastern replay, look, she looks up, has a quick look at second, thinks nothing of it, gets the play as they were hustling down the line, Riley Arnott. It brings Jazz Peters to the plate. Good story for Jazz Peters as well. Couple knee surgeries that she's had to overcome.
Just interesting, some activity in the New South Wales bullpen too. Brianna Evans, who's making her debut for this Nationals.
Just like Orsini.
Yeah, she's going pitch for pitch at the moment after what would seem like a normal warm-up. So we were talking before in the early game about how you're going to manage your pitches and triple headers. So might be some insight as to what.
And Orsini's already pitched today, keep in mind, in the first game.
Yeah, so pitch counts pitch counts 37 in the first, so in this particular game. So she would have pitched maybe 20, 30 odd in the other one. So it's just interesting trying to keep a track on how they're managing that.
New South Wales always come with an arsenal of pitches. This one just reaches for it, pops up to left field. There's McCready taking a catch. Runner stays put on 2. Yeah, they've always got, a third, fourth, fifth, sometimes even a 6th-string pitcher, someone who can thumb them in for them if and when required. So maybe the plan with Orsini was to finish that last game, a back-to-back doubleheader to start this one. That might close her out for the day because she would have had a big load warming up. She would have had to been ready from pitch 1 in case something happened to Ladner, and then she came in and pitched that 7th and extra inning starting this one.
And probably mentally that's hard too, right? Just having to be switched on for that long, and when you show up to the ballpark, expect to play at 11, it ends up being 12:30. That's asking Charlie Orsini to be mentally switched on like you could play at any moment for 5 hours now. And that's tiring.
Yeah.
Just from an observation point of view, I'm sick of the way that they can just keep on getting through these pitches. They just keep breeding them, and the success that they have, even from a young age. We saw very young man, Jack Bestgrove, just dominate the John Reed Shield earlier on in this month. Just 18 years of age, if you can believe it. Just mowed through every opponent they faced.
Yeah, he was a monster.
But he did not throw one strikeout against South Australia in that tournament. Just saying.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, right? Like,
didn't face him.
I was about to say, do we play him?
The new success builds success, right? Or breeds success. So when you have a lineup that's already tough to crack, like New South Wales has, means you have to elevate your game to force your way into the lineup. So it's not a surprise that there's so much depth because there's so much competition to try to get in, and They recognize that and do a good job of developing that talent in New South Wales. Montana Cairns, another multi-sport athlete, also plays rugby league in Wagga Wagga. She's a health worker, an Aboriginal health worker in Wagga Wagga. So she's been, in the last 10 weeks, she's been sending her team videos. She's been connecting with the coaching staff on Zoom. She's been having one-on-one coaching sessions. She's been going and taking video of her own swing, getting feedback what that looks like. So preparation has been different for every player, and when you're working remotely and doing an important job, that is exactly what Montana Cairns has had to do.
High and out of the zone. Looks like a ball player, doesn't she? She looks very comfortable in the box there. She's got that look about her where she's dialed in. It's a full count for Cairns, runner in scoring position. Oh, she swings at a high pitch. So great pitching from Parker, good calling from Cooper, and ACT get out of that one. It is actually a pretty good game. It's 3-1 on the scoreline.
New South Wales has scored 6 runs in this tournament now, as they've now played, 12 innings of batting, right? 8 innings plus 4, 12 innings. How many earned runs have they had?
Game 1 was 1.
And now? 1?
1. So what does that tell you?
It's pressure, though.
It's pressure. No, like that's...
They're so good at getting the ball into play, hitting the ball hard, being in the right positions. It's terrific.
Well, I was going to say, they go as an unearned run in the scorebook. However, these are very much earned in terms of the speed, the pressure, the patience, the awareness, waiting for that opportunity to score.
Well, you were saying, Eric, before about when you've spoken to Coach Porter from New South Wales about the fact that she loves the fact that she's got the left-handers in her lineup. And you can see that that's changing the dynamic in the way that when those hitters are at the plate, they're able to play a running bunt, they're able to play short, they're able to go with it. And so it just puts the defense in 2 minds.
And they continue to put the ball into play. I just showed a stat to Eric, only 2 strikeouts and they've had 18 batters. Did they many strikeouts against Grauer?
Yeah, Grauer had 4 strikeouts in 8 innings, so not a lot. And we were commenting about how strange it was. Grauer started the game 10 for 10. First 10 batters were fine until she hit a batter. She was perfect into the 4th. But her first inning, she had 1 strikeout and then 4 straight plays that were 6-3. All those balls were put into play, so they were trying to put pressure. South Australia was weathering a bit of that storm, but it's a great point, James. They just put the ball in play, and then they play softball. That's what they do. They just play softball. Alexis Cooper takes one down low.
Just for those interested, South Australia, Queensland, SA still leading 2-0 in the top 6, both with the starting pitchers still on the mounds.
Cooper fouls that one off. Had a ground out her first plate appearance. Gets a piece of this one and goes foul again. So good aggressive start from Cooper in this at-bat.
I mean, this is now 3 games that sound, I don't know what's going on in the back diamond in terms of watching it wise, but it's 3 very entertaining games out of 3 so far. Victoria, the only team that hasn't taken the diamond yet.
Smashes this one past Titsacronis. It's going to go to the fence. She rounds first, stands at 2, holds up at 2. Yeah, probably the right decision there. Gee, that went like a rocket. Let's have a look at the Eastern replay. Titsacronis had a stab at it, but travels all the way to the fence.
It's a long and lonely run for Tolly Moore trying to chase that ball down.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was so bang on the play. Like, I mean, for a moment there, you thought it might have been foul, but and she was looking at 3 too. She was like coming around, but made the right decision, I think, with ball in hand. So
keep it in scoring position for Jess Henman.
So it's important here in the sense that none out, runner at 2. So just to give the ACT an opportunity, middle of the game. So just notice that. Orsini's up ball in the last, so far this innings has probably dropped about 2K. So I'm just starting to get the feel that whether or not with the bullpen work that we saw from Brianna and the earlier game, whether or not
So Tez Henman, another player that has a lot of speed to burn. She was one of the candidates, and you might see her later this week lead off. We'll see how Brooke Spence goes, who's played a pretty good game. But Henman, another lead-off option for this team.
Yeah.
See if they play small ball here.
Well, McManus is playing inside the line on the shortstop side, and second base New South Wales is deep behind that soft patch of dirt. So, yeah, first is obviously down. So I think New South Wales are expecting it. And we just saw it then, so got to execute it though.
Henman shows Barn gets a foul tip as she looks to advance Cooper. She had that ball that was tricky to play by McManus at shortstop to get on safely. Her first time up, leading off the second inning. ACT have had multiple runners on every inning, including their leadoff in 3 out of 4.
That it's almost a carbon copy to what SA were doing versus New South Wales. They could get runners on, but New South Wales just kept taking off the base runners.
Well, you'd expect Claire Warwick, who's due up in about 5 or 6 hitters' time. As long as New South Wales don't throw her anything that lets her hit up the middle, they're good. Because at the moment she's rock solid at the moment.
Well, 4 different players from ACT do have hits now. Henman, well, 3 actually. Henman was ruled an error, but it was one of the ones that was kind of a 50-50 play. Puts the ball in play and uses her speed.
Change of pace from Orsini down to 82.
Yeah, that's the first time that's gone all the way probably past 85 for that pitch. So as you'd expect later in the game, starting to come off a bit. So
comes back hard and down. Just off to go to a full count. Good eye from Henman.
That was one of the points that Sean Carroll made. Is he said this woman has unbelievable eyes at the plate.
Focused as we see the view from the Space Quake Sports cameras. McManus just holds back. Cooper takes off on the throw. Believe it or not, another double for the Fire Starters.
That was 4 last game. It's 2 today. This is getting silly. This New South Wales defense is amazing.
6-3-5 double play. What have you seen, Anthony, on the Eastern replay?
just thought that just a bang play there at 1. I mean, the coach for the ACT's come out, I think, just to.
Was really close.
It was real close.
Really close.
But gee, New South Wales love making double plays, don't they? They're in a rush. Or
I mean, you go through broadcasts where you don't see, broadcasting on this diamond a lot. You don't see a double play for a couple games, and now we've seen 6 from New South Wales, and we're not even done game number 2. And I don't know, defense, boys. How do you coach defense? Is it just look at how close this is? Yeah, she's out.
That one's
face
out,
plant.
yeah.
Ouch. Oh,
the one
sorry
at first
about
base,
that.
I reckon, was real close.
But it's as Bree Kimber's up to bat. It's just amazing how they take off the pressure. They create pressure with the offense and they take it away defensively.
Well, that's what we were talking about with that play with Tonkin in left field in their last game. She knows that there's legitimate wheels on third in a 1-1 game, and
Kimber swings through, strikes out, so Charlie Orsini has a number.
So she's trying to make a play. She's trying to take the catch and then make sure that she can throw that runner out at home and try to do both of them. And at the same time, it looked like there for a minute. So
the other thing this defense does, and we talked about it, Weathers, in game number 1, is, we had a pitcher that hadn't pitched at this level in 2.5 years. Now we have a 19-year-old kid in Charlie Orsini. How much confidence do you have as a pitcher now saying, you know what, I can let the ball go into play. I can allow a couple base runners, and now I have a team behind me that can make some plays. It just allows you to have so much confidence, and you can trust your stuff. You can trust your defense, and you can go out there and not have to worry about all these other little things, about the ifs, ands, buts, and candy nuts. It's just let the defense do their thing.
Sounds like there's a change. We'll keep one ear on that as we can see a new pitcher coming in for the ACT. 96 is Melanie Thornburn So ACT going to their bullpen. There is more action over there in the third or right field. Right field, I'll get it right. I've only played this game once or twice. Out at left field, the bullpen for ACT, there's another pitcher warming up. So looks like they're going to pitch by committee. Shout out to Steph Trzynski, one of our favourite commentators that we got here. She's a handy ball player as well. She'll probably be watching from Japan. Pitching by committee ACT by the looks of things.
Well, Mel Thorburn, 39 years old. She used to play in Queensland, and that's where she does play. And her and Brooke Spence are very close friends, so that's where that connection came from. And played in Canberra in the last year. This is her second year back after a lengthy stint away from softball. And Sean Carroll did note that her velocity's picked up, and now she's added some movement to it. So I'm very curious to how she goes now at this open level. After some time off, now gets to compete against the gold star standard in New South Wales.
You mentioned it just a little earlier about how New South Wales are going to manage their pitching, seeing as that Orsini's her numbers are starting to get up a little bit, just to 2 strikeouts so far for Orsini, but great effort from Parker. She's gone through 4 innings against New South Wales, the reigning champs. She's given up 4 hits and thrown 2 strikeouts, so a pretty good day out for Parker.
Top of the lineup for New South Wales. So Weathers as a coach, does this come into it saying, you know what, I don't want to show Lauren Parker a third time through to this?
Yeah, it's more so than that. Yeah, absolutely, more so than trying to, hide particular pitches versus particular teams in a short form tournament like this. You just don't have the time.
You can't hide.
I mean, that's what we saw today when we were all trying to discuss, was Grau going to pitch against New South Wales at the start or not? And we had 2 different stories for that, and we got one. So yeah, I think this is more about just making sure that the best hitters in Australia, especially coming from the reigning champion New South Wales, is that they're not getting to see it too much. So
also from a game management standpoint, third time through statistically, just more swings in the hitter's favor.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like it's one thing to manage a game over a national championships at 6 days, which is the Sunday to Saturday, the old school format. But this new format of 3 days of pretty high intensity, every game matters, every pitch matters, and then your finals. It's a different way to manage it for sure.
Does Alexis, you saw her make that play there a minute ago, does Alexis Cooper behind the dish for ACT not look like she's just having an absolute ball playing this game?
You love to see that on the look on the player's face, the energy that they bring.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about when I saw just the way that she went back to the plate. The shoulders sort of slumped a little bit.
Cox ground ball to second. Spence just fumbles, but then decides to throw overhand and the punch out from Macaulay for the first out. So it's Cox. She's had 1 hit so far in this game. Let's have a look at the Eastern replay. Ground ball there. Just bounced a little and whoop, and then she picks it up to complete the play for the first out. So this is now Kivas now to the plate for New South Wales. Swings at this one, fouls it into herself, and dead ball.
The pressure keeps coming though. Like you just come off of Cox, who's obviously great speed and has you thinking at the plate, and then Kivas comes up, so it just doesn't stop in New South Wales. It's just pressure the whole way through.
Kivas, the grip on the bat is about an inch off the bottom of the bat, so it looks like she's going to go to a short game after a swing and a foul into her own body on the first one.
You can see Warwick there coming in from shortstop I think she thought that one might have been a bit closer. So
well, she does swing in it, but a nice little pop-up for the pitcher. So Thornburn has got the first 2 batters. Is it a change of pace maybe a little bit? Just
Well,
the speed's a little bit lower than...
It is, yeah,
than
and
Parker.
noticeably too, like they're in on the hands on the both of the lefties, so that one's just got her on the handle. So it'll be interesting to see now how against the right-handers, 3-4-5.
Two out, Titsacronis to the plate. In her first at-bat, there was 2 out. She hit a line drive to the left field alley. Second, smashes this one. It's a no-doubter. It travels the journey. It's our first home run here on the broadcast. We saw one in the opening game, if you were listening.
Yeah.
Taylor Titsacronis goes yard.
That's a line drive home run. Great pitch of the ball. The one we saw earlier in the first game with Belle White was a genuine up ball, like it hung in the air. But that was just a bullet that Titsacronis just smashed over to
Eastern replay. She got all of it. She finished her swing and bam, over the Bob Burns blind sign on the home run fence. The signs you see on the home run fences, ladies and gentlemen, are our broadcast partner. There is no broadcast without them. The work of Space Quake Sports, and of course, our expert team of commentators who give up hours and hours of their time. They're all volunteers, so we thank them very much for their efforts. Can't wait to bring you more action just like that from Taylor Titsacronis. Here is McManus. Early on that one and fouls it off. New South Wales extend their lead by 3. It's 4-1 ball game here in the top of the 5th.
And in the top of the 7th, over on Diamond 2, Queensland just got back into that game when Whitefield's just scored off of a wild pitch at the plate, as it's now 2-1 in the 7th, SA versus Queensland.
We will have some more on that game when Eric returns. He's just gone to have a look to see what's happening over on Diamond 2 as McManus pops this one up to right field for the 3rd out. So New South Wales score their 4th. ACT will now come in at the bottom of the 5th inning trying to get back into this game. I've seen that a little. What is that? What is that? Is it?
Feed me, I think. It's like give me more, feed me more. Is that right?
Well, she loves it. Titsacronis as
I have no
she
idea.
puts New South
I
Wales
have no
up
idea if that's
5-3.
right. That's just a symbol that I think that I've seen.
Here's another look from Taylor. Big smile.
Yeah.
Got lost to smile about. She got engaged earlier this year to Zane Van Lieshout, who's a New Zealand Black Sox player and now a national champion winner himself with New South Wales early this month at the John Reid Shield.
Yeah, right. I'm just basing that on the kids at home showing me that they want to be fed, and that's a very similar thing. So I don't know if that's right. So forgive me if I've misread that. So,
Well, we will be speaking to a player of the game at the completion of this game. I'm getting the nod there from our man, David Muggleton. So
she may be good player.
She's got to be the player. She's had 2 hits and an intentional base on balls. She's scored 2 runs and an RBI home run there in the top of the 5th. Here's Charlie Orsini. She's pitched a gem so far for New South Wales. 4 innings, 2 strikeouts. She's given up the 4 hits.
Yeah, and she's obviously, as we've said before, she pitched the last 2 innings of the early game.
So only 2 pitches used so far for New South Wales in their opening 2 games.
Yeah, Ladlin went 7. They've got another pitcher warming up down there at the moment in Bridie Murphy, so different pitches. So New South Wales just making sure that all of their pitchers are sort of active, ready to go, because it is such a hectic schedule. So ACT doing the same on their bench side as well. But
if you want to see the schedule, you can go to the Softball Australia website. You can check out the live scores and you can see the draw. We will need to make a couple of changes, a slight delay on the play today on day 1 due to some wet fields, but we should be able to get through the program. for today's play. We'll be live streaming as many Diamond 1 games as possible. Ground ball to shortstop. Great play from McManus. It's just an easy ground ball, right?
No,
So we've been spoiled for talent.
It's not an easy ground ball. I mean, she makes it look easy, but it's not, because you see the way that ball bounces. I mean, you have to. I mean, anybody that's played shortstop, you've got to stay in the spot, in the sense that you've got to. You know, the ball's going to either kick or is it going to stay flat?
Just being cheeky because of all the double plays she's been involved in today.
Yeah.
She's just been magnificent in the pivot spot for New South Wales today. Eric said it at the top of the show. Their defence won them the game against South Australia early on today in a 3-2 game.
Yes. Yeah, SA fought real hard and kept coming, but yeah, those double plays, what they did in the game was they just switched momentum. That was the thing. Every time SA seemed to just get their, seemed like they were getting on a roll, then all of a sudden the game would just finish up real quick. But yeah, Orsini doing a great job here in the 5th.
Ground ball. Titsacronis is already in short for Pardo, the lefty, and she fires it across to first base for the second out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Well, talk about momentum changes in this game. It was ACT. They were rolling. They scored early in the game. They held the lead there for a little while. And they've had runners on base in every inning except for this one. There's 2 quick outs, but we are back around to the top of the order, and Brooke Spence.
Yeah, and Orsini, she's, pitched 62 so far. And just watching some of her pitches there, like her drop's gone back up to 101.
Well, they say that great players find an extra gear, don't they, when their back's against the wall. I'm not saying that she's feeling the pressure. I'm just saying that her workload so far today, great signs for this young player who's committed to Tennessee, who is what we'd probably consider an NCAA softball program, softball powerhouse school. So
is that Lady Volunteers?
You tell me.
Oh, no, I'm just sorry. I'm guessing. Sorry.
So good signs.
But she throws a heavy ball. That's the. I mean, most of the time she's throwing that ball, it's not just coming to the plate with nothing on it. Her drop, fair bit of work going on there.
Brooke Spence has had a walk and a pop up to right field. It was a good catch, actually, by Michelle Cox. This one is hit up the middle, so she's had a good day, Brooke Spence, as she hits a single up the middle.
Yeah, that drop is sitting at 101k now pretty regularly, and Spence has done a great job to just get on top of that out in front, which has enabled her to actually push the ball through. As we see number 17, Kirk, come and grab the bat for us.
Sarah Rio is the new hitter, with Spence on first. She takes off on the pitch and going to test Arnott's arm. Oh, I may have missed something there. It looked pretty close. Here's a look on the Eastern replay as Arnott just come up firing, and second base covering it there. Looked pretty close, but that's the 3rd out of the inning.
They're tough plays to call. I mean, they're bang bang, so like it's.
We get the advantage of a slow-mo replay.
And slow-mo, but I did think she got in under it, but close.
Right,
very close.
That is a 2-4 if you're scoring at home for the 3rd out, and at the bottom of the 5th, New South Wales leading 4 runs to 1. And while we have the opportunity, we do thank all our broadcast partners. Without them supporting Softball SA, there is no live stream. And one of those is, of course, Spacequake Sports, and they've been bringing us the live softball action for the better part of 6 years. And you can check out their YouTube channel and all the softball videos on the Softball SA Facebook page. It's a huge library. We've got a video of over 1 million views, Katie Sutherland Finch, when she threw her truly perfect game, and another one with a couple of 100,000 as well, and so some great highlights that you can watch back as well. So very special thanks to Spacequake Sports. You do a magnificent job. course, they did the John Reed Shield finals as well earlier in the month, signing a new partnership with Softball Australia. So hopefully some good signs to see Space Quake Sports bringing you more of live softball action from around the country.
I've seen some good apparel around here as well too. There's some pretty cool hoodies being sold, is that right?
Of course, you can get your Eastern equipment from MC. They are on Port Road in Woodville. Another terrific partner at Softball SA. Yep, there's a couple of hoodies, Stars hoodies on sale this week. Here we go back to the action. Tali Moore, an Eastern ambassador. So good timing as we bring up Eastern, a quality product. It's all the best players use Eastern. And if you go into Rebel Sport and you buy a Eastern 888 softball, Tali's image is on the packaging. So that'd be a thrill, I reckon, to have your face on the Wheaties box, so to say. And 3-1 count now for Moore. On the run there, she swing and a miss. Went to JMU. Tali Moore got to play with the great Jalen Ford. We miss her here in SA. She's played for the Stars a number of times, but playing in Japan. Gets bat on ball. It's a chopper. It's going to be tough as she beats that one out. They're so hard, the lefties, because they can hit a line drive to the fence or they can chop one into the dirt. Not only did it beat Thornburn, but it also beat Warwick. Let's have a look at the Eastern replay.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that. I mean, Warwick was in the right spot. I mean, obviously, even the way that Warwick has anticipated that. Look how close she is when that happened. I mean, that's
clipped the glove of Thornburn. She did nothing wrong. She was going for the ball, but just out of reach, and then Warwick had to change directions, and that was enough for Moore. Rickson now has a hit in the ball game. In fact, the walk and a single, so she's been on twice from 2 plate appearances. Rickson, lead-off runner on, vitally important. Ground ball, Warwick traps it, stops it, delays a little bit, couldn't get a handle. And Rickson will get to first base safely for the 3rd time in this game. Let's have a look at the Eastern replay. Hard hit ball.
Yeah. You can just see, though, I mean, great courage by Warwick, just the way that she's just put her body right behind it, got down low so that if it's going to miss her glove, that it's going to hit her body. That's a gutsy play. Again, not much. ACT have been unlucky so far in this game. It hasn't sort of fallen their way. I mean, apart from the Titsacronis home run for dominance, it's been pretty close, you know. I mean, Warwick let it off with that run up the middle early, so.
No outs and 2 runners on. A change-up. Another play for Warwick. That's a great play as she just knocked it forward to Spence, who cleaned it up a little bit there to force out the runner Rickson at second base. Moore will arrive safely to 3rd. Let's have a look at another chopper.
Good. I mean, it was a good effort, but the great part of that play was when Brooke Spence, the way that she read it off the glove at second to make that out, to nearly turn it into a double.
I'm giving Warwick an assist there. That's probably a single against any other shortstop in this league because the ball was hit pretty hard. Chopper up the middle. Let's have a look at the replay. And again, a diversion off the glove of the pitcher. Well done to Spence. And she had the presence of mind to try and turn that into a double. So runners at the corners now for New South Wales. And this is the first time we've seen this situation with the runners at the corners, Anthony. So it's always interesting to me early on in the tournament to have a look at not only what the defence is doing, but what the offence are doing. And if I know New South Wales, they'll be quite aggressive here. So ACT will need to be right on it here.
And they've made a change to, in regards to Jade Jensen, has come in for the at-bat. So it'll be interesting to see
Jade
How they approach
Jensen.
it.
Oh, I've been waiting for Jade to come to the box as she swings at the first one quite aggressively.
We've got a bit of TV royalty here.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jade Jensen, for those that don't know, hosts the softball shout out, and she brings you all the updates from all the Australian players playing over in the US college system. We're going to grab her for commentary for those that are watching. She gets after this one. It's high. It's in trouble. Great catch from the centre fielder. She tags up the runner. Will score from third. She hit the ground hard after completing that catch from Henman at centre field. Timeout's been called. It'll go down as a sacrifice fly for Jensen and RBI. The lead will go to 5-1, but all eyes are on Henman here. And, well, I'm really looking forward to this Eastern replay as well. Jensen aggressively puts it in the air. It's the Bermuda Triangle between the two outfielders and the shortstop. In comes Henman, takes a chest mark, completes the catch. Tries to give the ball off to Warwick, but she was watching the runners as well, so lots happening there. Oh, great action here at the 2022 Gillies Shield. She hit that at 100 miles an hour.
Well, I think that the ball's actually hit her. Just the way it didn't come down, like she's saying to Warwick there, can you take the ball? I'm not going to get up and throw that. So it's like maybe her leg got stuck underneath her, and that's what sort of made her sort of flip forward.
All right, well, let's pause for a second as everyone checks to make sure she's okay, and we can recap what's happened there. So, Eric, you've just missed a magnificent play. Tess Henman out at centre field has taken a magnificent catch, but Tali Moore has scored on the play, so a sacrifice fly for Jensen, an RBI to extend New South Wales.
What, Jade Jensen got in the game?
Mate, you've missed Taylor Titsacronis.
I saw a home run, yeah, I saw that.
Home run. But you're going to bring us an update from Diamond 2.
Yeah, I just wanted to go to Diamond 2, get the vibe. It's all well and good to look at the box score, and then it was the 7th inning, so I stayed and watched the 7th inning, to be totally honest. SA played a few of their kids, got some kids in the rotation. You got to see players like Steph Collett got into the game. You got to see Sophie Roberts getting at bat. But the real story in this 5-1 game, is Jade Peterson. She allows 1 run in the 7-inning games. They win 2-1. It was an unearned run. SA had a bit of a miscommunication with their defense in the 6th inning, so that's going to be something that SA are going to need to watch and probably clean up as it goes on. But Jade Peterson, apparently the word that I got from a lot of people from talking to her was she pitched with a calm ferocity about her, which is what you love to see from the ageless wonder, Jade Peterson.
And what we've grown to love about Jade Peterson as a personality and player in the SA Premier League, we call her the wily old fox because, she's a veteran pitcher, but she just keeps clocking up the numbers. She's terrific with a great defense behind her as well. So,
but they apparently she had
an
edge about her in this start, which is exactly what they need because Queensland's going to be one of the favorites. Wow, what a play again.
Yeah, Cooper just heads up, just catching the New South Wales runner napping here. Let's have a look at the Eastern replay. Watch the pitch go to the outside edge. It would look like a little bit of a pitch out, and the first base player, Laura Pardo, was in the best position possible as the New South Wales runner couldn't get a foot around, and they make the tag out.
So on that SA game, Queensland have a lot of athletes, and they have a lot of players that can drive the ball, and apparently that was neutralized by Jade in the game, which was apparently fantastic to see, but you could see how much it meant not just to Jade, but the entire team after the game. She got the final out on a little ground ball, and then the whole team right to Jade with a big smile on her face. That was where the congratulations were going to. They were around Jade. That was the feeling around there, and it was a really nice moment in the crowd because what they just witnessed over there was just an awesome performance against a team. SA didn't want to start at home 0-2, and they have a calm, ferocious Jade Peterson get them the win.
Jade wouldn't have played for the Stars in a fair few years. She's a mother of 2 now, which she was just a new mother the last time she played for the Stars in New South Wales, and she was considered a 3-4 fifth string for the Stars as she ended her state representative career which has been over a decade of representative service for her state as well, but to go 7 innings against a class-acting Queensland, that's a huge result for SA and for Jade Peterson. So well done to Jade.
So she's gone over to the Glenelg Rebels this season in club ball, throwing about 130 Ks in the local league, won the club BNF. You know, at her age and then home national tournament. You know, got some great mates in that team, and to see her out there doing that is great. But speaking of pitches, we've got a change here as well. So Orsini has done her job after the first 5, and Murphy has come in to replace her.
2 strikeouts for Orsini. She gave up 5 hits. So for the 3rd time through the lineup with your 2, 3, 4 hitters coming up, probably not a bad move for Orsini, who's thrown beautifully today. She will probably get the win against South Australia because she come in tied.
Yeah, she does get the win, yeah.
Gets the win for that game. And
so
in line for one here.
In front here as well, so she could be 2 wins from 2 games.
So this is Brodie Murphy's Open Women's National debut for the Fire Stars, and she's just been committed to Ball State University as of next season.
Wow, just the talent just keeps flying through this this country, this softball talent.
Sarah Ryu. But in this game for ACT, you've seen some of their athletic capabilities and playmaking abilities already that you have, even though they're down 5-1, because 3 of those runs came on one of the most chaotic plays I think you'll ever see.
And James, you made the point too. It was interesting to see when Jensen came into the game at 1 out, and it was our first time to look at runners at 1-3, what was going to happen, and she swung away both times. You know, so there's a fair amount of intent, I think, from New South Wales in that regard. So.
Well, right now, New South Wales and SA, the only teams that have wins in this tournament. Victoria yet to play, although they are upcoming, and ACT playing right now. Queensland 0-1.
I don't have the drawing from me. Victoria played 2 games today, or
2 games today, yeah.
3 games, and they haven't played
2 games today.
Ryu gets enough bat on that. There's that Bermuda triangle we spoke about between left, centre, and shortstop. And Ryu finds a way. She's been aboard twice from a couple of hits, and she's also had a sacrifice bunch. She's been an honours contributor for her adopted side for the week, the ACT.
Well, Claire Warwick's been firing in this game.
2 for 2 from 2 plate appearances. She hasn't messed around either. I think she's only faced 2 or 3 pitches.
And then she's gone up the guts both times.
Yeah, that's where you want them. You would take 12 singles up the middle in a tournament any day of the week. But just such a great contributor for the ACT over such a long period of time. This one does go up the middle. Tracking it back is Kearns. It's a 3rd hit of the game. It's extra bases. Rio's going to take on the relay. She scores. So both RBIs for the ACT off the bat of the gun.
Wow, what a day she's having. I mean, you just about nearly bring the entire field into the middle of the diamond, but I don't think that would have helped you there. I mean, she's hit that ball deep. It looked for a moment like it might be going all the way, but great pace and great base running too as well. Like, that's ACT not giving this one away. And as you say, with that, again, that earned run count against New South Wales, we'd be at 2-2 at the moment. So
the gun is loaded and firing.
Yeah, 3 for 3 on the day from the veteran. Love a player that goes about the game like a professional, just like that. Claire Warwick, she's played in Italy semi-professionally. She's been to a bunch of World Championships, not to mention Olympic qualifier and Olympic Games as well, and she just unreal. Love watching her play. Let's get back to the live action. This is Caitlin Savage, hit into a double. It was a pretty good double, if I say so myself. Gets away from Arnett. Warwick will stand at 3.
Well, that just opens things up because there's still not an out in this inning, and if ACT can cash in this run and get themselves within 2 going into the final dig, then you start to have a bit of belief in this side.
Yeah, now that you've got Warwick at 3-2, like as anything loose at the plate becomes a threat. But Coach Porter has just taken this opportunity just to try and stop that momentum that the ACT are trying to build here, and just resetting their charges. I don't think it's...
And while KP's out there doing that, we mentioned Cooper before and the attitude that she brings to this game. She's on deck. She's having a laugh and a smile with Savage, who, you know, has been out twice in her 2 plate appearances, and they're having a good time. It's so good to get that reminder of why we're all involved in this sport, the love of the game. And
well, she was a late call-up to the squad, and one of the quotes that you got from head coach Sean Carroll about Alexis Cooper is that you need a personality like her in the team, because when there's low time, there's going to be low times in a tournament. She's always up and about. Even when she swings at a bad pitch, she's having a good time.
Just off the right field line. Has it been called out yet? Good foul up the right field line.
Well, that would have made things spicy.
I thought it was in, actually, just trying to... good call, so...
5-2 ball game, and the ACT, well, I wouldn't say they're causing chaos at the moment, Eric, but great signs for their tournament.
Well, they've had no luck so far, so...
Well, for a team that's playing out of luck, they are putting up a great fight here against New South Wales. First strikeout of the game for the new pitcher, Murphy. 2 hits to start this inning. Rio to centre field. Warwick, a double to the fence. She stands at third base. Cooper to the box. She drilled a double in her last plate appearance.
And was looking for more too. She was rounded, but...
Low for a ball, and Cooper will go to a 3-0 count. Now, new rule to this tournament. We've seen it before, the courtesy runner for the catcher with 2 out. There's a courtesy runner for the pitcher in this tournament. So if anyone's watching and we see that throughout, we'll make sure that people are aware of that. 3-0 hitting deep to centre field, tracking backs Kearns again. It goes to the fence. It's back-to-back doubles for Cooper. RBI included this time, and Warwick scored from third.
Well, the chaos from the Capitol is starting to come to fruition, and Alexis Cooper, who loves her softball, clearly. It was amazing, right? Like, Shannon Keevers was playing relatively in on that one, and then all of a sudden that ball's flying off the base paths, and Keevers is kind of like, uh-oh. And that was never going to be caught anyways. That was a great piece of hitting from Alexis Cooper, and now we have a ball game.
Yeah, well, not funny, but it was a couple of innings ago when we saw the chaos that happened at the plate, and I was saying you could see Cooper, like you could see the drop in her shoulders, because even though she'd done nothing wrong, 3 runs had scored in, basically around her. And just watching her run off there and just seeing the smile on her face as she ran into the dugout was huge. So you're right, they're not giving it away here. We're still only 1 out.
And they have a runner in scoring position.
Yeah.
Right now the difference in the game is that fly ball to right field that was caught that scored 3 runs.
Yeah.
Charlotte Jeffries, the pinch runner, to come in for Cooper. And Tess Henman comes to the plate, and she's obviously okay from that terrific catch that we saw just last inning. Big lead off. So obviously some wheels at 2. The pinch runner, Charlotte Jeffrey.
So this will be interesting when we just wait for this pitch here. The interesting in the preparation, like the understanding is that New South Wales haven't been able to do a lot of diamond work. They haven't been able to do a lot of these pressure situation sort of trainings, whereas the ACT have. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it at this time of the game.
I mean, New South Wales looked pretty good handling pressure versus SA in their first game, and that's a big strikeout from the kid, Bree Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy goes upstairs there, 95K, so wasn't beaten by pace, you wouldn't think, Henman, but good pitch locations.
Yeah, she's sitting around 97 for most of her up stuff in that regard, and she looks pretty effortless as she's doing it too. She doesn't look like she's, seems like she's got a little bit more in the tank if she needs it. So
Henman looks like she plays the game with a bit of spunk about her too, doesn't she? Like, she's up and about, and obviously just made that great play in center field a few minutes ago.
Still a runner at 2 here for the ACT.
Yeah, Bree Kimber's the hitter. Had a sack bunt, her first plate appearance and a strikeout. The second time up. There's been 3 hits in this inning for the ACT. 2 runs have scored off doubles. But 3 strikeouts for Murphy in the inning.
I guess that's the upside that they've seen in her, right?
Yeah, yeah. You make a pitching change and she throws 3 Ks, you normally take it. But ACT have got some runs back, so through some good hitting through Cooper and Warwick.
And ACT aren't going to roll over, and they're going to be battling. And they've been in this game, right? Like, the big difference right now is those 3 runs that scored when it was bases loaded and it was off of a sac fly to right field. ACT have been putting pressure on this game the whole time.
Yeah. Well, earned runs, we're currently 3-2.
So we head to the 7th inning. Still a few more games to play. We've got 2 games officially in the books.
Yeah, I am going to try to find out the updated draw. I know there's been a slight delay, and the Tournament Management Committee will be right onto that for us. So we will bring you that updated schedule just so you know when to tune in to watch your favourite team. But if you are watching on the live stream, thanks very much for watching. Let us know where you're watching from around the country. Watch your local club and association, and of course, give Softball SA Facebook page a like, and you can watch any of the live softball action that we bring you throughout the season and the year. It is also broadcast on NITV, free-to-air TV, and SBS On Demand. That is a free app as well.
And we've got the big game tonight coming still, SA Victoria, we think.
Oh, that's a great rivalry, isn't it?
It is for us. I think the SA Vic rivalry...
well, in any sport, for us, that is.
But everyone likes to beat Victoria, you know. Like, I would say that New South Wales, Victoria would have a rivalry as well. But, I think that one for us, it's the SA Vic rivalry. So it'd be great to see the 2 teams go head-to-head tonight in our feature game.
Montana Cairns.
And we would expect maybe to see the debut of the young pitcher.
Millie
for
Fidge.
SA, Millie Fidge. So if Grau's gone 8, Peterson's gone 7, so that'd be pretty exciting.
Also committed to NCAA Division I college, Hawaii, and Australia has a great relationship with Hawaii. Mel McGee is a Softball SA Hall of Famer and an Aussie Spirit representative. Claire Warwick went to Hawaii. I don't know if you've heard this name. Stacey Porter was at Hawaii
I've heard of her before.
Rachel Lack. This is Keevers, and a shot out to right field is caught. Kearns. That is Montana Kearns. Hits a good shot to right side, and that's the first out of the top of the 7th.
Goes back to the top, and this is the dangerous part here. Cox and then Keevers are up to bat. They'll be wanting to get them out, ACT, because I have a feeling you don't necessarily want to face Taylor Titsacronis the way that she's gone today. Double, home run, the intentional base on balls. That was impressive.
Yeah, that home run that she hit over centre was an absolute shot. So
Yeah, Cox back to the top of the order for New South Wales. It's her fourth time. What a catch on the backhand side. Work didn't know if she had it or not, so she made the throw just in case, but that was a catch. Great catch, low to the ground to the backhand side.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the Eastern
I was
replay.
about to say, she's called the gun. That seems like why, but it's the speed that what gets you in regards to how quickly she releases the ball once she's taken the catch. So great piece of fielding to start with. So she's taken the catch, but because her glove's facing down, she's unsure if it's going to be called that. And so you just see how quickly she comes back up and makes that throw.
She's so good, isn't she? She's just so agile at that shortstop position. She makes it look easy. So Australian softball talent on display today in that shortstop position. We've seen McManus doing it all day for New South Wales, and now for the ACT, it's Claire Warwick. Well, this is Shannon Keevers for New South Wales. It went first pitch, she goes second pitch, and gets herself a single. So a little blooper just over the head of Spence at second base, but it's enough for New South Wales to have a runner on board.
And now they have to face Taylor Titsacronis. That is the last person of any player that is going around, walking around this facility right now. This is the one I don't want to face given her current form.
Yeah, she's 2 for 2 with an intentional walk.
Both the Australian catchers, I don't think I want to throw a ball near, like Bell White and Tat Wall.
Well, she's swinging a hot bat. She goes first pitch. It's a deep fly ball out to the infinity signs. Deep centre field, and another terrific catch taken by Henman. That's her second ripper of the game, so quality defence on display all round.
And just for the record, Keevers was already past third when that ball was caught.
I'm amazed at watching Keevers fly.
Yeah.
Like, she's really, really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to watching some more of Shannon Keevers this week.
Yeah, for sure. So you can see the ACT just taking an opportunity here to have a chat.
All right.
Look,
sorry, guys. I've had the update here. The official word on the draw is that the next game that we're going to live stream will be the 8 p.m. local time, so 8:30 Eastern is the SA Victoria game. So that will be live streamed. There's still 2 games to be played on the backfield on Diamond 2 at 5:30 and also at 8 o'clock. So still plenty of action, and you can catch all the live play-by-plays on the iScore app from the Softball Australia website, of course, but we'll bring you the feature game tonight, 8 p.m. SA versus Victoria. It should be a ripper. 3 outs away, New South Wales from their second win on day one of the 2022, as a foul ball comes our way, Gillies Shield. And, well, been impressive so far, haven't they, New South Wales, with only 5 returning players from their last national campaign?
Yeah, a lot of rookies. I mean, the young girl in there at the moment, Bridie Murphy, has just come on like she's been here for the last 2 or 3 nationals, and showing great control, great pace, and 3 strikeouts in the last innings. So 3 outs away from picking up, helping New South Wales go to probably the top of the ladder.
4 strikeouts.
4
now.
strikeouts.
That's it's pretty good.
Yeah,
is that good?
Yeah,
4 outs, 4 strikeouts?
4 strikeouts from 7 batters.
Okay, that's pretty good.
But it's been it was a terrific performance from the ACT hitters that got on top of her early, and they had 3 hits from the first 4. That is a terrific comeback from a young pitcher to just go bang, 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 3 strikeouts.
So in the 7 batters that she's faced, she is literally hit or miss.
Yeah.
And interestingly too, this is the we're getting a little bit of sun here on Diamond 1, but the sun coming off of the sea here, so it'll be interesting to see how the New South Wales and how the New South Wales outfielders deal with the fact that they're now looking right in the sun.
Yeah, just to add a little bit into the mix there, there's no daylight savings. We're past that time of year that we're normally used to. So it's sun coming in from a little bit of a different angle as well. But
pinch hitter now, by the way, just going to jump in. Michaela Tui coming in.
Yep, Tui, new hitter for ACT.
This is her debut at the senior level.
When she gets after it, it's going to drop in, and there might be a play at first, just a slight little fumble. And so pinch hit pays off. We saw a pinch hit in the SA New South Wales game earlier from Taylor Chillingworth. She just comes in a tie-break situation. No pressure from the young lady and just drills it up the middle. But great news for Taylor as well. Just named in the Australian under-18 team to go to the Canada Cup later this year with 4 other South Australians.
So this now, by the way, brings in the pressure part of the lineup. Spence, Ryu, and Warwick are all very dangerous. All have been on base. Warwick with 3 hits, Rio with 2. Brooke Spence has been very competitive in this game. She's got a hit too, doesn't she? So Brooke Spence, all 3 players have hits. There's only 1 out. That at-bat was absolutely massive from Tui. She gets a hit. She gets taken out right away for the runner. Like, that was massive from the kid.
Yeah, huge to turn it around to the top of the order.
That's right. And, you know, ACT fighting all the way here. So they just need now just to do what they did last time.
Well, you've got the tying run at the plate with Spence, who's been on twice out of 3 times. Sarah Ryu's been on twice out of 3 times. If it turns over to Warwick, she's gone 3 for 3 with both RBI, or 2 of the 3 RBIs for the ACT.
I mean, if it gets to Warwick, she will have an at-bat to win the game for the ACT, if it gets to Warwick.
Sneaking suspicion they might not throw to her.
Well, they might not have a choice. Well, it depends.
True. That's true.
If the bases are loaded.
It depends what happens in the next 2 batters. We're a long way from getting to Claire Warwick. We're still 2 batters away, and there's 2 outs to go, and this is the double play New South Wales Firestarters, who've turned 6 double plays in 2 games so far. So we're a long way from there, but that would be the equation.
Oh, Spence looking for a second hit of the game and just less than a ruler length, probably about 10 centimetres from the foul line there. And as I look over to that side of the diamond, I can see more softball royalty. The Gillies Shield are bringing them all out. I can see Neville Lawrence, World Softball Baseball Confederation Hall of Famer, but the lady that I can see over there, Joyce Lester, inaugural Australian Olympic captain, another WBSC Hall of Famer. This one's going to be a hit. It just gets past the diving glove of McManus. ACT, back-to-back shots, 2 runners on.
Has got spicy.
Well, here's Rio. She represents the game-winning run at the plate. Still a little bit of work to get there yet, but there's the threat on deck there. It's Claire Warwick. She's already laced one to the fence.
Wow.
We've got some speed on the bases as well. We've got Padot on 2, but it's the tying run at first in Spence. We know she's an athlete, former Matilda.
If you're going to do it in front of the Australian selectors too. That's always a positive.
ACT were down 5-1 in the 6th.
And look, this is a big ask of Murphy. Like, young player on debut, strikeout or hit seems to be the go at the moment. So New South Wales defense has been rock solid behind. So they
Wow, that was a big cut from Sarah Rio. She was
trying to win the game.
Trying to win the game there, yeah. But I think for Rio, she just got to remember, you got Claire Warwick behind it. Got to have a quality at bat. If you can advance the runners, if you can move them over, that's not necessarily a loss.
Yeah, that's the more important thing, not doubling up at the moment.
You got to give the bat to Claire Warwick. You have to. There can't be a double play.
Yeah, 2 balls, 1 strike. So can be interesting to see what she does here.
And it's a 3-1 count, so it's a hitter's count. Big moment in the game. And it's a loaded bases.
Wow.
So Claire Warwick is going to have the winning run on base. She's 3 for 3 with a hit. You can't intentionally walk her Or can you?
You can. You can, right? So,
or do you?
So I was going to mention it, but I thought, nah, surely it won't be loaded bases. Just 2 minutes ago, we had this conversation. They wouldn't want to throw to her. However, they're in this situation now where we've got bases loaded. Do you give up a run to bring to the plate someone who's gone 0 for 3?
But the problem is
there's only one out, and then you've got Cooper, who's 2 for 3 in the day.
If it was 2 outs, I would say, you know what? No, but I don't know.
I love it how
oh my goodness, this is such a tough situation.
2 minutes ago you were saying it's a long way from Warwick coming to the plate.
Well, it came up quick.
Look at this now.
This is wild. Bases loaded, and they're going to pitch to the gun. They'll pitch her finally.
Young Murphy and Warwick, who is, I said it last time about swinging a hot bat. She hasn't seen too many pitches, so she's just going for it.
And centre field is looking into a little bit of the late afternoon West Beach sun. So
she's in as well. She's already seen 2 balls go over her head.
I know, she's fielding, well, as in Lee Hull's world, she's in the right spot, but seems shallow.
Well, any local will tell you that as soon as it hits 5 p.m, the wind picks up and goes towards the city.
Yep.
So if she gets one, there's a little bit of breeze out there. Not much. There's not much happening out there in the trees in the background, but I can tell you, if it's just lifted a little bit, it might have the aid of a breeze.
Gee, this is good.
Low. And a ball.
And what a moment for Murphy. She has to go against an Olympian with bases loaded and the game on the line.
Both barrels loaded for the gun. Ground ball. McManus stays low. She looks to turn 2. Double play for the win. New South Wales get out of a jam. McManus stays back on the ball, flips it up to Kearns for the double. Let's have a look at the Eastern replay.
I cannot believe it. I got to see this close up. New South Wales have now turned 2 game-ending double plays, 7 in 2 games. You can literally say it again. The New South Wales defense has earned their team 2 wins in 2 games. That is unbelievable.
They just don't panic in the field. They're so poised in the way that they play. They know the play before it happens. And McManus just cool as you like from shortstop and says, hey, Claire Warwick, you know, don't forget I'm in this game too. Takes a good play, flips it over to 2, and Kearns turns
They could be 0-2 New South Wales, but their defense has made them 2-0.
Yeah, their earned run count, like you see 5-3 there, you're not looking at an earned run count game. The ACT win that game on earned runs.
Just like SA in game 1.
That's 3-2.
But New South Wales defense and their speed they are going to be so hard to beat.
That's just insane defense. But look, the promising sign for ACT, not having been at a national championship for 1,200 plus days, and they've come up.
Well, I just want to give we're going to throw it down, I think, right now to Dave Muggleton on the field. Dave, you've got someone for us. Let's go. So I think we're having some technical difficulties right there and hearing David Muggleton, unfortunately, down there on the field.
Yeah, thanks to David and to Taylor for making yourselves available.
I'm so sorry.
We'll tidy that one up.
And she hit a home run, too. Bring her over here. Let's talk to her on the panel. Taylor, get over here. But a 5-3 game, how about the pressure? We want to have a chat with Taylor Titsacronis. We got it. We got New South Wales 2 games. Look at this, a superstar. She's coming over, making herself available. Taylor, thanks for joining the broadcast quickly here. Taylor, what's going on?
Nothing much, just playing some softball.
Just playing some softball. Taylor, just wanted to ask you here, the New South Wales defense in the first 2 games has been something special to watch. Walk me through what's been happening on this field.
We got some experience at short and second base, so that's really helping. we're just doing a good job. I'm really happy for the girls. It's all coming together. It's good.
What about, I mean, you're a catcher by trade, watching Murphy on the mound going against Claire Warwick with bases loaded. How does she keep her cool in that moment?
Oh, I don't know. She done well. She's a rookie. That was literally her first game for the Fire Stars, so I'm so proud of her. She's a Penrith girl, and that's where I'm from, so yeah, just really proud of her.
And we've got to ask the question about too, like coming down the third base line after the home run. Is that more? Is that what that meant? 'Cause
yeah, I mean, it's just kind of come up as our thing, and so we just keep going with it, really.
yeah, I was just saying before, like my kids, that's when they want to be fed. So like it's a
Yeah, give me a plate.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, great. It was a great shot.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And then finally, what's gone on with the preparation of this New South Wales team? I understand it hasn't been the most typical of preparations for a national championship.
Yeah, definitely not. The rain didn't help us out in New South Wales, and I'm sure all over the country, really. But yeah, we're just lucky we had the indoor facilities at times to get us some training in. Otherwise, it was just the good old Zoom chats.
Yeah, right. The fielding, like you wouldn't know it because the fielding's just out of this world at the moment. I haven't seen that many double plays.
7 in 2 games.
Yeah.
I know, how impressive, right?
And young pitchers like Orsini and they're like 18, 19 years old, just must be huge.
Yeah, I honestly, like, as I said before, I'm so proud of the girls, especially our younger ones. They're really stepping up, and that's what we need, given that we've got 9 rookies in the team.
Yeah.
So I'm, again, really proud of them.
Well, Taylor, appreciate you running over here and jumping on the mic. We'll let you go celebrate the win. That's 2 wins for New South Wales on the backs of amazing defense from the fire starters in the field. It's been great to watch. Taylor, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
See you later.
So, Weathers, I mean, if you can't beat New South Wales because they're going to stop you defensively, how do you beat them? You got to be almost perfect.
I think the positive thing that comes out of, like, I mean, New South Wales are 2-0, but the positive thing comes out of it for SA and for ACT is in both times they've fought and they've taken that game right to the end. I mean, the tension that we were feeling just here when Claire Warwick was at the play, and anything was possible right there considering the day that she had. And SA were amazing. You know, Chillingworth comes in at the end there after White takes that game to the extra innings. So New South Wales defensively look great. Their offense, it's still not all clicked together yet, which I think
maybe their bats.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but on the base pass, they're excellent.
On their base running's just insane. It's like it's ridiculous. But look, they're not too far away from making that all click. And when they do, their young pitching staff. Look, there's a lot to like. The best of them is still to come, which is pretty scary. But ACT, really impressive.
5-3 win for New South Wales. They've won 2 barn burners. We're off to a great start, aren't we? 3 great games in the books so far. We'll be back with more a little later on, 8 p.m. local time, 8:30 in the East. On behalf of James Harris, Anthony Weatherston, Dave Muggleton, and the entire Spacequake Sports crew, and Taylor Titsacronis, of course, for the interview. We will see you very shortly. Thanks for joining us. Can't wait to see you soon.